start by doing?
You did. Wow. All right. We're live. And Austin started with a yawn.
All right. Hey, South family. We are back for another episode recap of Exodus. I think we're a little tired this morning, but we're ready. We're ready. And so I just want to start with this. Everybody has a heart problem. This was one of those messages on Sunday that at response time, I was like, we're going to be here till dinner, because I was personally challenged and moved by what God gave to you, Jeremy, to share with the congregation. And so I hope that even now that we're Thursday deep into this week, that people are still remembering that and choosing to recognize what their heart problem is and how Yahweh can help them through that. So any thoughts now that we've all kind of had some days? I know Chad's kind of watched it, and anything that you're like, yeah, I wish I could have said this, or just thoughts that you want South family to know about.
Yeah, one thing I really, really wanted to say, and I almost got back up there during response time and said it, is this is what makes us equal. We all have issues. And man, we buy into this idea that my sin is not as bad as their sin, or my sin is so bad that Jesus can't love me because of how bad it is. And I go back to the scripture, and it keeps coming up recently, but for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes us equal. That's what we all need, God. We all have a heart issue. And so then I'm doing my devotions, and then I'm just reading. And then it says, literally, if you say you don't have sin, you're a liar. Yeah. And you make Jesus out to be worthless. And I was like, holy cow. Yeah. And then the next one said, basically a couple different ones said, avoid even the desires of evil, and not just the action. And so I was sitting having my devotions, and it was like, okay, I'm thinking heart issue is I keep doing this, or I keep doing this sin. Well, the heart issue starts with, why do I want to do this? Mm-hmm. Why do I long for this? Why do I crave this? Why is this what I always go to? And what's deficient in my life, in my soul? That's where the heart issue starts. And man, it's like God can really work in that when you're like, I don't even want the desire to do these bad things or to turn away from what you say is holy. So I think it just obviously it's massively important, and we can't sum it all up, but we all have these issues. And I dream of a world where we start with everyone has an issue. Let's not play the game of, oh, we're all good, everything's perfect. We shouldn't have to say people came into this room today with problems, but we do. Because people are disarmed by that, you know. So let's just, hey, we all have it, and let's be real. So for me, let me not say for all of us, but for me, I grew up in a Christian culture that was, well, now that you're saved, now you have to be holy, now you have to be perfect. And I think it might have been you on Sunday, or Dr. Craig Miles, even in Warner's chapel yesterday, it was like, we don't make ourselves holy. Right. That's wrong thinking, bad theology to think that we have to live perfect. It's only through the power of Yahweh that we can even strive to be righteous and holy. And we don't do that on our own. So I think, man, at 30 years old, I'm like, man, how bad is my theology? You know, to think that I have to be perfect, I have to be holy. When it's a heart problem, that's pride. That's pride, that's a heart problem. And so, it's just so good. And I think our people need to hear that, because we have been mistaken with the thought that we have to be perfect, that it's on our own.
Yeah, I think, so I want to tie a couple of those things together in my thinking. I wasn't here live, but I joined you online like so many people do. And man, I loved your definition, how you walked through what the hardening of heart was. And then it got me thinking, and while you were going, I was digging into my Bible app on my phone, and I was thinking through it. And the root word for the hardened, or maybe even translated heavy heart, is kavod. which is the root of the word glory. And it got me thinking, well, this goes back to the I am God, Yahweh, versus the lowercase I am. We all have a worship problem. And so what is worship ultimately? It's setting up systems. Unfortunately, like in the Egyptian culture, which Jeremy's been hitting so well on Wednesday nights, just been so cool. It's setting up a system that keeps us in control. And unfortunately, everything you just talked about, even from a Christian religious theological perspective, sometimes we allow our heart to become heavy in regard to making our own moral system. It's almost the resistance that we need God, and instead it's deifying or elevating all the things we have to do to earn salvation, when God's like, I want to set these people free. I want to set these people free. And I was thinking a great deal about, you did a great job comparing, you did a good job of dancing between the reality that we're all facing this, and well, let's just look at Pharaoh. Let's not trying to make this personal, but obviously we all knew. Oh yeah, that's me. That's what it is. But I'm seeing his ego at play, and I'm thinking about, gosh, we all have an ego. I wrote down something about that. I was thinking about, maybe this connects back to this holiness piece. Pharaoh had this ego thing where he thought he was the absolute highest morality there was, and how we just innately personally do that. You mentioned a few moments ago that idea of, man, we begin to judge other people. We begin to kind of make these levels of oh, I'm better than that. And all of that is actually the heaviness of heart at play, that I think is just so, it's the calcifying of the heart. So that was some things that was going through my mind as you were preaching.
I can't wait to get into the Wednesday night lesson on the heavy of the heart, because when you read it with an Egyptian context, it means so much more.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, we've struggled with the idea of God hardening Pharaoh's heart, but there's actually 3 different words that are used. And Pharaoh kavods his own heart. God doesn't. And that's massively important for the Egyptian culture, for the context, and for us. And so it's, well, we talked about it last night in Wednesday night class. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. But everything was tied to the heart in the Egyptian world. And so their heart was their center of being. And so when Yahweh says, I'm going to, what we translate as harden, he's actually just sending him on the path he's chosen.
Yeah.
He's giving him the strength to fulfill what he has said, I'm going to do.
I might phrase it a little bit differently in the way my mind processes. It's that God stops in any way restraining him. It's a progression. It's a progressiveness of the calcifying of his heart. God didn't just be like, oh, I'm done with you. 9 plagues up to where we are now, and you're going through them week by week, but where we're jumping from all this hardness of heart from Sunday to this coming Sunday is 9 plagues have gone by. God has given him 9 opportunities, and he has progressively said no. And so God literally, up to this point, by using challenges, trials, what we would call plagues, has challenged the system that he had in place. His thought process of where life comes from, his thought process of how economic value happens, his thought process on all the stuff you're going through on Wednesday nights. And he finally comes to a place, he's just like, yeah, I'm not going to restrain you. I'm going to let you have what you want. No more warnings, here we go. And I think that's that comes back to us, is there's got to be a repentance in in how we think and feel. Sorry, I rambled there.
No, that was awesome, and it brought up something that I want to ask you guys about, which I think sometimes we have a hard time explaining, which is this free will. But as I'm hearing you two talk, I'm like, this is God's example of free will with Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Like, this is free will explained. It's defined, and we often are like, oh, I don't understand. Why doesn't God just take care of this for me?
Right.
He gives us free will, and that's exactly what he was doing with Pharaoh. Is, you want to do it? Go.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you who I am, but you want free will? Here, you choose. And I'm just like, man, and I know at the college, it's like these kids are like, I don't understand free will. That's some of the questions that have been coming up, especially at Warner. And I'm like, this is it. This is a story about free will. God allows us to make our own choices, and he's there to pick us up when we fall.
Yep. And I want to reiterate, and I think this is true. I think that God, through the orchestration of our life, our lives, our relationships, our circumstances, is constantly giving us opportunity to see his restraint.
Yeah.
I love what Jeremy said in the class on Wednesday night, and I think it's really important. What we've kind of classified as plagues, I think is actually, after listening to you and processing it for many weeks, is better said miracles.
Yeah.
God was miraculously intervening, not just for the Hebrew people.
Right.
Yeah.
He wanted Pharaoh and the Egyptians as well to have this miraculous revelation of, oh, we're not what we think we are. We better turn to this guy. So I look at this. Yes, free will, absolutely. But free will doesn't mean God is hands off and I don't care. Choose what you want. God is constantly, miraculously stepping in through life events, circumstances, relationships, finances, all of these things that are outlined in the plagues. Where do we think we get our source of life from? Where do we think we get our source of what's sacred or important, systems, I would call it. And God challenges every one of those things. But in the end says, well, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
And that is free will. But miraculously, the whole time he's saying, but I'm right here.
Yeah, that's the free will is born from his love.
Mm-hmm.
And if the plagues and the Exodus was just about punishing Egypt, he could have done that instantly.
Yeah.
If it was about setting the people free, he could have done that instantly.
Yeah.
But he's dealing with real life people and trying to show them I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's taking the time, letting us make the choices, letting them make the choices, also letting us make choices in free will to fail, to fall.
Yeah.
But then he's there to say, but this is the better way.
Yeah.
This is the best path. And I think it's amazing. And I see love, I see grace, I see mercy.
Yeah.
Because, and God says, Yahweh says, we haven't got there yet in the plagues class, we will. I could have done one plague and wiped out Egypt from existence.
Could have done
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
Why? Because I want them to know
Yeah.
the I am.
Yeah.
And so at the heart of it is God's passion for us to have a relationship with him. And I think that's inescapable and absolutely beautiful and encouraging.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good stuff. So Jeremy, you covered a bunch of chapters, 4 through 11. And so I've had some people text me and say, what am I supposed to read this week? And so I would just say read 4 through 11, right?
Yeah.
But I want to reiterate, this heart theme is found in all of those chapters, and that's why we were able to group this large section of scripture together.
Yes.
Also, if you want it broken down, show up on Wednesday nights. I don't have time for me to say this, but show up on Wednesday nights.
So I want to add two things. So one thing I did just this morning, as a matter of fact, because I'm the one who usually puts together the Bible reading plan for the week, and I told Austin, I think it was Tuesday, since I wasn't preaching, I just right through my, I didn't think about it.
I didn't either.
And so what I did was I literally went in and took your message and used AI to create a plan, and it's got hyperlinks to your message minute by minute, some cool things in it. So
That's awesome.
that's now in the Exodus Way app right this minute.
Cool.
So that's number one. But the second thing I would say is people need to watch and catch up on the videos from Wednesday night and then come, because you're covering this. The one message that Jeremy did Sunday is covered now in 10 weeks on Wednesday nights. And so we're really not missing those. We're in essence giving opportunity to go deeper on those, because there's so much. And goodness gracious, if we did that all on Sunday morning, we would be in Exodus for eternity, because and maybe as a little like Easter egg nugget thrown in right here, we've made discussions in the last couple of weeks that as soon as the plagues are done, we will switch Wednesday nights to look at the significance of the tabernacle, and there we'll cover a whole bunch more chapters, which we'll probably do in about 1 or 2 Sundays in detail for many weeks after that. So that's a little Easter egg just to throw out that's coming up. So
well, and this heart issue, obviously you start with Adam and Eve. They showed their heart issue, and it runs all the way through. It's a theme throughout the whole Bible. So it's literally, I mean, you read the history of the people, and we hit on this Sunday, but again, read what the people did in the wilderness and how they over and over and over rejected God. I mean, they watch what he's doing, and then they're like, yeah, this isn't good enough. He gives you manna, I want quail. He gives you quail, I want garlic and leeks and things to cook with it. And it's just never enough. And so this heart issue just goes on. And then, I mean, track the history of the Hebrew people. Why do they split kingdoms? Heart issues. Why did they turn away from God? Heart issues. Why do they go into exile? Heart issues. And so literally the whole point of Jesus coming is we have a heart issue.
Well, and I want to take that even further, because, man, absolutely right. Then you move into the New Testament, you move beyond the Gospels, where Jesus is just all over the heart issue through the Gospels. But then you move into the epistles, the letters that are written to churches. And what's the primary theme throughout each one of those letters? Oh, man, there's division in the church. And there shouldn't be division in the church. Yeah. There's a heart. Why are you eating when they're not getting anything? Why are you making this division between ethnic preference over? Why are you making this a system thing, not a so this idea of the heart? You're absolutely right. Goes all the way through, and one that parallels it. Then I'm making this up on the spot. Is this idea, the Apostle Paul loves it. He loves the word, the walk, which I just tie to the Exodus journey. I genuinely think Paul, being a Hebrew Jewish Pharisee, can't help but to tie the language of their history to his teaching and writing. And he's talking about, like, our life's always been this journey, people. Yeah. We're these people on a journey. So walk in a manner that's worthy. He says that over and over, actually, but Ephesians 4 is where it was popping to my mind, because I've been studying the book of Ephesians again for the last month or so, and it's like, walk in a manner worthy, or conduct your life in a manner that's worthy. That's what we're talking about. And what's a life that's worthy? A life that is surrendered in worship to Yahweh. A life in surrender to his plan, not my way. It is, God, please restrain my heart, not God, let me live an unrestrained life. So holiness is back to this. It's what God is doing in me, and us becoming so attuned and aware of what he's doing that we're like, do that. Do that in me. So any parting thoughts?
Well, can you give us a preview of Sunday, because this is one of my favorite probably chapters. You're going to be in 12.
Yeah, well,
a little bit of
11, 12, a little bit of 13.
Okay.
But I'm going to focus in on chapter 12. So if people want to read those in preparation, we are moving into the final miracle or plague. what we call Passover.
Mhm.
And so we're going to be looking at God's heart to protect his people. And the method by which he does that, covering by the blood, which there is deep
Mhm.
Christological connection, Jesus connection there that we can't miss. And we're going to take Eucharist, Lord's Supper, communion, whatever we want to call it. We're going to take it together because it is the Christian Passover meal. And
Yes.
communion, Jesus gave this practice that we call communion to the disciples in the midst of the Passover meal, where they were celebrating these events. And so we can't help but to spend a little bit of time there looking at that together.
Awesome. I'm super excited.
I am too, really excited. I don't know how I'm going to keep it to an hour. Just saying.
Brown bag, everybody pack a lunch.
I mean,
There we go. Why don't you just multiply fish and loaves
Okay.
and we'll... All right. We'll see you all Sunday.